Desperately clinging to the Lifebuoy by usurping Spencer, Meghan's pseudo-feminism disgusts us. With her Spotify deal done with and Netflix demanding some better content, Meghan is coming up with a plan to rebrand her image. Ever since the Z-list actress was catapulted to worldwide fame after she got engaged to Harry back in 2017, the whiny memoirs and the problematic TV docuseries tell-alls have put the two of them out of favor. PR experts have weighed in on Meghan and Harry's demise. Now, Andy Barr has 30 years of experience in the industry, and he has said it is becoming clear the court of public opinion has started to run away from them, and he's suggesting that it would be a great idea for Meghan to try to relaunch herself. But it seems like she is already doing exactly that, and once again, she is turning to the mother-in-law who she never met, the late Princess Diana, to win back favor. British author and royal expert Tom Bower is claiming that Meghan has ideas that she's going to change her family's surname to Diana's maiden name of Spencer. Recently, Tom explained, what's interesting in the rebranding of the Sussexes is that Meghan decided her real object in life was to be Diana. She'd be Meghan Spencer, the new Diana. Tom went on to say that Meghan and Harry have already shared the big news with their friends. He says they were actively trying to recast themselves as Harry and Meghan Spencer. He'd take his mother's name too. It's all about the breakoff. They'd also give up the Sussex title because instead, you've got the new incarnation of Diana. To be fair, Spencer is considered to be one of the most prestigious names in British aristocracy. And it's a pretty bold move, but sources say that it could give the two of them more credit as they're going after work in America. Now, recently, Meghan has been criticized as talentless by bigwigs in Hollywood, signaling a turn for the worst. With Meghan and Harry's $150 million 5-year Netflix deal hanging in the balance, insiders are saying that becoming a Spencer, while it may be extreme, is the kind of stunt that Meghan may pull. Right now, she's hunkering down on the advice of every expert she knows. She's oversaturated herself and needs to hide away until things die down, according to an insider. She and her team are fleshing out ideas on how to relaunch her. But would a real feminist lie about her age to get employment or attract a younger man? I would have assumed that a real feminist would want to be true to herself, and a real feminist would care about fighting for women's rights for equality and opportunities based on their abilities and character instead of their age. By lying about how old she really is, Meghan was assuming that men are going to want to marry younger women because basically women are just good for breeding cows. They're not going to be equal partners. And if Meghan really felt so strongly about that issue, then why did she not admit the real reason that people were talking about her in the palace? It had nothing to do with her skin color. It had everything to do with her age. And if Harry did talk about a family discussion about Meghan's age, then I'm sure she would have felt threatened. But she probably would not have wanted to share such a controversial cover-up with Oprah. And I'm thinking that she got her revenge on the royal family because they learned the truth about her lies. And so she decided to change the narrative to a less invasive and more culturally sensitive issue, skin color, which would give her the kind of public support that she was desperate for to gain the upper hand against the firm, whom she realized would never respond. Now, age, I think, would have been a far more likely agenda. I think it was the real subject of discussion among senior royal family members before they got engaged. I don't think it had a thing to do with skin color. Instead, I think they were talking about whether or not pregnancy was even possible. Now, the Queen had more than enough children and more than enough grandchildren to ensure the lineage. King Charles only had a couple of sons and 3 grandsons. And here was Harry, the younger son, marrying this woman who was middle-aged and probably approaching menopause. They probably knew at the time that her real age was somewhere around 40 or 41. Tell me, though, would a real feminist lie about her age and fake a couple of pregnancies when it would have been so easy to hire a surrogate and adopt the baby at birth instead of making a complete fool of herself in front of the whole world? We all know Meghan is not a real feminist, or she would have enough self-worth to not need titles or monetary status. Instead, she would be a lot more like Zara Tindall, the Olympic medalist. Now, Jane Fonda, she was also a real feminist. She refused financial help from her parents while she was raising her kids, and it seemed like she was raising them in some kind of hippie commune. Did Meghan, though, go off her brain at Harry when she learned that he was only the spare and he was never going to be able to inherit the throne? Was that the reason, maybe, that Harry decided to call his memoir Spare, thanks to how disappointed Meghan was when she figured out that he was not going to be king ever? And maybe that sounds smug, but I think I'm probably right. I heard from a pretty reliable source that after Meghan and Harry announced that they were engaged, Meghan completely freaked out at one point and she walked out of a family gathering. And it was because either Zara or Anne told her during the course of the conversation that she would not actually become a princess when she married Harry. Now, apparently, she called Harry over immediately and then they ran off. I think this conversation can easily be translated from that stupid Hallmark movie that was released after Megxit, where they try to portray Meghan as being intimidated by racist remarks by some mysterious royal family member. That was a cover-up for what really happened, and the movie screenwriter for that production took advice directly from Meghan. Now, they released it within a week of Megxit, and it was aired in Australia in prime time. I ended up watching it, but I regretted every minute of that. And did Meghan talk about how disappointed she was with Harry after the engagement when she finally found out the truth about his minor role in the monarchy? Is that the real reason that Harry turned against his older brother and insulted him so badly in Spare? Was he all of a sudden feeling like he had let Meghan down because he wasn't able to make her into a future queen, maybe? No, it's just speculation on my part, but maybe he even tried to pacify Meghan by telling her, "Oh, don't you worry, honey, I'm just a plane crash away from the throne." After all, people heard Meghan making that very comment in the company after they got engaged. And maybe Harry's book would have been more appropriately titled Revenge than Tom Bower's biography. I mean, it could have been a better title than Skeletons from the Past. And supposedly, Meghan also thought that Harry was worth billions of dollars instead of what was in his trust, which is given out little by the executors. And that $3.5 million that Prince Charles at the time paid Prince William and Prince Harry for being working royals. Meghan believed that she was going to have access to credit cards with no limit, and the royal jewelry would be hers to keep, etc. Why would Meghan assume that she would have the title of princess when Catherine didn't even have that title until she became the Princess of Wales? Now, that has been talked about a lot, and apparently Meghan was even less informed than we ever thought. I suspect that she is so delusional that she just isn't capable of rational thinking. Because seriously, what sane person in the public spotlight would risk trying to trick the public with fake pregnancies? Well, Meghan's that type of person because she is legally insane, and she really is delusional enough to believe that she's more intelligent than anybody else and that she can fool everybody. I think that is what drugs do to people's brains. I mean, I have been told that cocaine especially does that to people by people with firsthand experience. Apparently, people who are addicted to drugs like that believe they can do anything. Now, when Meghan and Harry finally get divorced, well, that's between them and them alone. Now, the money that they end up with at the end of the day is not going to be given to them by Charles. And how dare she try to blackmail the king to give her 80 million pounds or whatever to walk away from the marriage? You know, it is up to her and Harry to decide what the two of them should do, and they shouldn't involve the king at all. It is not his divorce. Harry's going to have to act like a real man now, and he's going to have to figure out this mess on his own. I don't think that he's going to have help from his father either. He needs to realize that he's got to pay for his own mistakes.